I'm so excited to see your animations. Anyone ready to go now?
Yeah, I went ahead and put my link in the chat for you.
All right, thank you. Now, I just want to say is that everyone's on different levels, and that's why I do the questionnaire. And so I'm not expecting, you just do your best and you just, build off what skills you have. This techniques, I'm always learning. And so it's no ego about it. I really just want to see your ideas and see that you can understand just basically keyframes and titles and creating shapes. That's all. So please don't be shy to share your work. All right, so here we go. Wait, is this sound?
No sound.
Okay, hold on. Let me just do it from the beginning. Hmm,
That's the end.
that's it. Nice. All right. Also, Hannah, I want to say is that I was in transition with this, but you asked me about comps, and I want to be really particularly careful. Did you want to just bring in different small comps or like large ones together?
No, so like I had animated that the very last frame in a different comp, but then I wanted to extend the time, so I wanted to go ahead and use the entire poem. So I just wanted to figure out how to combine them, but it was really just a drag and drop. It really wasn't that difficult to do.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say is just drag and drop, but sometimes depending on how long it is, if you have a lot of comps and you're bringing them together, just depending on your computer, yeah, it starts to crash. So that's why I wasn't sure exactly what you mean, but yeah, you could just drag the small ones together from the project menu to the timeline. So sorry for not clarifying. 1 second. Okay, so great job. And anyone have any opinion?
Well, I know Hannah from the last semester, and I remember her the GitHub, the website that we did.
Mhm.
So it's the same kind of, I feel like, style she has, like colorful, funky. So I saw in her work, it's like repeating. So I think it's her unique style. And it's easy for me to like recognize her as an artist and see, oh, this is Hannah. So like, I know that's her style. Yep, that was good. Good.
Thank you, Alexandra. I mean, where did you get that text from?
First of all, thank you so much, Alexandra. That's very sweet. I've worked really hard to sort of define my own style, so I'm kind of glad it comes through. But it's a Shel Silverstein poem. I guess I probably should have credited him at the end, but that last frame took me so long to animate. By the end of it, I was like, that's what we got there. So it's Shel Silverstein.
Fantastic. I think it was great. Anyone else have an opinion?
Could you explain like the title of it, The Mustn't Child? Like why that title?
Well, that's the name of the poem. And it's kind of like about how everybody can tell you what you can't do and all of that. But the end of the moral of the story is that, don't listen to the mustn'ts because you can do anything you want. Anything can be.
Oh, great.
Fantastic. Anyone else? I'm just gonna play it one more time as everyone's talking about it.
For me, I like a lot the contrast between the letters and the background that is just like a white. I like how it looks, like the letters pop out a lot, even though you have some like cream colors, like that yellow, like kind of goldish, let's say. I can really see it. I like how all the letters grab my attention.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So who is next? Hold on one second. People come at the wrong time. Anyone else going next? We have our next
It
person.
was me.
Oh, yes, William.
Yep.
You want to send me the link?
I guess share it off my screen. It's fine.
Okay. Give me just 1 minute if it's
Yeah, it's
possible.
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, William, whenever you're ready,
Okay.
I'm gonna mute.
You got to give me the host thing first. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was it.
Thank you. I love all the positivity today. I think we need that. We need a lot of that.
Can you please play again? I want to see it again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Very positive. I appreciate it. It is relaxing. I would agree too. Um, anyone else would like to say anything?
I mean, I just say on the chat, but I want to say that it's relaxing though, for real. It's like when you remember when you went to the planetarium and stuff like that, that you watch the stars and you just relax. So it's that kind of feeling. Though.
Thank you. So I'm going to share. Oh, one more student is
Yep,
going to
not mine.
share. And your co-host. Tell me your name again. Say your name. I don't want to say it incorrectly. Your work is fantastic. I remember you from last semester. Who's going next?
I will go next.
Okay. All right, great.
Professor, could you help me to share?
Oh, I thought I did it. Oh,
I put the link in the chat.
oh, you did? Okay. All right. And now, anytime you share for everyone, just send me a link, just so, just in case. I just like to make sure that I have everyone's work. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. Wow, so excited. Does this sound? Oh, okay, let's start from the beginning.
What's depression? Depression is a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest, which stops you from doing your normal activities. It is classified as a mood disorder. What's the symptom of depression? Depression is characterized by the presence of feelings of sadness, emptiness, or irritability, accompanied by bodily and cognitive changes, lasting at least 2 weeks, that significantly affect the individual's capacity to function. Depression is common, but we can help them. Encouraging the person to get help, supporting your loved ones. Treatment, be patient, listen to them, taking care of yourself. Extend those invitations.
Wow. Anyway, you want me to play it again?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Love it.
What's depression? Depression is a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest, which stops you from doing your normal activities. It is classified as a mood disorder. What's the symptom of depression? Depression is characterized by the presence of feelings of sadness, emptiness, or irritability, accompanied by bodily and cognitive changes, lasting at least 2 weeks, that significantly affect the individual's capacity to function. Depression is common, but we can help them. Encouraging the person to get help, supporting your loved ones. Treatment, be patient, listen to them, taking care of yourself. Extend those invitations.
All right, let's stop. Thank you. Anyone want to say anything?
Well, yes. I would like to say is that what I like the most about this video is how um oh, there was also what to do if a person is depressed, and I think being patient is the most important one. And then it's like, yes, I definitely agree with that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kayla. Anyone else?
I want to agree with Ariel. She wrote in the chat that it felt like a commercial. So I felt
Oh,
the
yeah.
same way.
Same way.
It out there.
Like where they what's it called? Um, what the what's it called? The depression medicine. Where they're like, call now if we're here, and they give that out.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's really good.
They can use it as a campaign or something like that,
Yeah.
anti-depression.
Donate today. That's really good.
Anyone else would like to say anything? I think that was Ariel. It's a good question about the voice. We can ask, but anyone else would just like to comment on the video?
I'm really glad that you broke up the happy tone of today's class with a little bit of reality. It was great.
That happens so fast. Went
Yeah,
from
no.
positive to
Really happy. Depression.
Such is life.
It takes one person. That's what I realized.
Mhm. Anyone else would like to say anything? Well, first, I think it was really great. I love the that you were experimenting with the different animated presets. I can tell. And well, I was curious if you also use Premiere or did you do everything in After Effects? And I was also curious about the figure that you have moving through the different shapes. Did you make it in After Effects or did you make it in Photoshop? And then, yeah, but I think it was a really great job use of the sound and it was clear what, you were trying to say about depression and, the use, it did remind me of something for infomercial to help people that are in need of support, which is great, for your portfolio when you're, looking for work. Anyone else? Oh, wait. Oh, I had a question. So if you wanted to respond, give you a chance. PN?
Hi.
Hi.
I do all of this work in After Effects. I didn't use the Premiere and or Photoshop. And I create some shape and I move them and you can see the people move. Just I build the head, the body and the legs and I move them and then they can move together. Yeah.
Did you link the shapes together?
Yes.
Okay. No, it was great. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And someone, I think Ariel asked a question about the voice, which I thought was really great. Was because I know that After Effects have sound alterations and things, but yeah, how did you get the voice? Did you record it and import it or?
Actually, I do it on a website. I put the text in the website, and you can change it to the voice, and I make it into a MP4 file and put it in the After Effects. Yeah.
That sounds great. I'm really impressed and I could see that you really were experimenting and doing different things. So great work as usual. We have one more person that would like to go. Bune. Let me see. There is the link. And I'm gonna share the link. And hold on one second. So great job. Anyone else have any questions?
I have one. For future assignments where we have to involve ourselves with art After Effects or involving making videos, but like we want to add music because I'm pretty sure people weren't very creative with their sound. But like, is there a website or a place that we can use music without it being copyrighted protected or like without being feared that we might be sued by the writer
Oh
or
yeah.
the composer?
Yeah, definitely. You can Google free stock. I mean, you can Google free sound. Like, you know what? I'll give you a few sites that you can go to. That's a great question. That you can get free sound and I'm sure your classmates can also add to the list. So please feel free to add there. I Yes, I traditionally make all my sound too by hand, or I work with other musicians. And so I also use my iPhone too when I can't use microphones. If I hear a certain sound, I record a lot of sound. I create my own sound bank for my films. So that's a great question. But if anyone else has websites or suggestions for where we can get free stock sound, please add. And then I'm going to post on the Blackboard where you can, where I know of for free usage of for sound, but you always have to still credit where it comes from. Okay, thanks, Jesus. Okay, any other questions? But also anyone that sings or does any kind of music or plays an instrument, I am always their friend. I am friends because of that, because it's expensive. All right, so here we go. Oh. Wait, I'm going to play from the beginning. Fantastic. Anyone would like to say anything or start off the conversation?
I feel like you should have made the water droplets more it should have smoothed in. You know, you could see like the reaction of the droplet hitting into the white liquid.
I
Wow.
would. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say. Besides, I mean, it was really good overall. Like that right there was really good. That was really cool with the water droplets. I don't think there was a problem with it personally, but
Yeah, I think that's an awesome animation. The animating process is super hard.
yeah, I was gonna say that's
That was
really
cool.
hard to do.
Yeah, how you do the animation with the liquid rising up then rising going down?
Use some sort of mask.
Oh.
Where everyone's on different levels. So yeah, we want to support, but I thought it was really good. And am I saying your name right, Bu? Would you like to say anything, comment?
Actually, it's Boo, Professor.
Boo? Okay, Boo?
Boo.
Okay, my apologies. Tell me, would you like to say anything?
Um, um, Not really, actually, because uh, um, like the first animation is like because there are many effects on the side, and you can choose like what you want, and there are some shapes, and yeah, you can just make it together.
Fantastic. Um, would you like to say, add anything else? Like what was your inspiration or?
Um, because I'll say the sentence because now in this case because we have pandemic, and I think we can uh just do ourselves and like never give up. Yeah, like that.
Wonderful. Um, anyone else would like to say anything?
So I kind of play with those kind of animations too in my thingy, and it's kind of challenging to do it. So I'm really like it look really good.
Yep, I would agree. I think it was really great. And thank you so much for sharing. So everyone that shared today, please don't forget to send me your links from YouTube. And that would be great.
You want us to email you our links?
Yes. Just email me your links. And I just want to make sure that everyone, especially today, that share will get, credit. So great job, everyone. Thank you. It's not always easy to share in front of the class. What I do want to say is that let's just open up. Let's open up After Effects. And I'm going to share some things with you actually in Photoshop first, because today I want to talk about ways that we can kind of animate using different layers from Photoshop. And I think that we're going to start working on building on the next animation, and we're going to use more like pictures and animate kind of different backgrounds and play with that, and also play more with the mask and some of the effects. So we're going to be working, we're going to be building off of what we've learned about keyframes and text. And we're going to be working towards the next project, which is the spirit animal. If you prefer to do something else that is an extension of the last project, like with words, that's totally fine. On this project, you're not expected to use text. We're going to just use images. And so the first thing I'm going to share with you is in Photoshop. I think by now everyone in here is taking Photoshop, but I'm just going to review a little bit. Okay. So I have this project where we have these different kind of layers. And you can play with like bringing in the background and things like that. And, I've kind of like taken out the negative space, and it's just these kind of like hands. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to bring them in bring them in After Effects, and we're going to have some fun. So let's get started. So open up After Effects. If you want to, actually, you can just watch, and then I'm going to give you guys a chance to do your own. You don't have to create like masks and things like that. Now, the next thing is that I'm going to bring in, so once we open up Photoshop, okay, and I have a new comp. And the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to import this file, this Photoshop file.
You're not sharing your screen. I don't know if you meant to.
Oh, I meant to. Thank you. I forget when I'm going. Hold on 1 second. Guess I could share. All right, just give me one of a few different. Okay, so you basically save it keep it as a PSD file. Okay. And then what's going to happen is that it's going to ask you about the layers. Like you can bring in the layers as they are, or you can merge all the layers if you wanted to. But right now we're going to keep them separate. And so once I bring in these hands, Okay, these are the same thing. As you can see in the project panel, you can see the images. Okay. I'm also going to bring in, import some background images too. Let's see, okay. All right. So with these, all you have to do is just basically drag them down to the timeline. And the first thing is that I have a certain format that I wanted, and the pictures are kind of too big. So I'm just going to use the bounding box to kind of make it the size that I want. And of course, you can use the shift key as well, but this is the way that I prefer to do it. If you want it to have, you know, no color, you can, that's up to you. Now I'm
Can you
just,
put that background? The one, the checkerboard.
oh yeah, so yeah, the checkerboard. Yeah, that's just, it's nothing. It's just it's transparent, but you have the option of seeing, if you want your background to be like colored or not, you can just click it, just so you know. This, if you need to get like, see, once we add mask and things like that, you can see that this is another way of viewing the screen. I kind of prefer the black as a negative space, but if you prefer the checkerboard when it's, it's nothing there, you can totally do that too. So you can drag all of these down at the same time if you wanted to as well. But I'm just doing them one at a time so you can just see. See how they interact. So
Jasmine, I have a question. So once you export that, it's not actually going to be black, right? I ran into some issues whenever I was exporting. I thought that my background color would go with it, but it's like inherently transparent. So I ended up having to put a layer as like a solid layer. Is it, well, I guess you're in Photoshop, so it's different, but I didn't know if it was going to be an issue once you transferred over to a video program.
no, you could definitely do it the same way. Like I was just showing you, basically, most of you by now have taken intro to media. And once you start like cropping, like it's still images, you can keep the negative space, what you're talking about, or you can cut it out. I chose to cut out the negative space. But yeah, you can totally play around with it and do whatever you like to the image. And then and then you can drag it in with the background or without. You can also, alter and combine, collage different certain things, but whatever that layer is, and how you've saved it in that PSD file is exactly what it's going to be. So it's still in the Photoshop layers. You see this? It's just that when I brought it into Photoshop, into After Effects, this is what it really is. But I just kind of prefer, like, I don't know, white is kind of hard on my eyes. And so I prefer a little bit lighter, a darker color, just to, show the contrast of the subject. So it's up to you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just unclear about how to transfer transparency and not, but yeah, I thought that makes sense. I just, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
did you see my Photoshop files?
Yeah, I did. I just,
Okay.
it was just whenever I was in Adobe or After Effects, like when you open the program and it asks you to pick a background color, that's just for the program. That's not for your work. So like that was just confusing to me. So I was just clarifying whether you wanted the black or whether we were doing a transparency. So yeah,
got it.
gotcha.
I got it. I got it. Now let's see if it's okay. I got it. But with this comp, since these don't have a background, yeah, I'm going to be able to put in another layer that will have a background. So I'm going to import. Matter of fact, let me just look through my Finder, look at some pictures, and see for some background colors. All right. So, so the first thing I'm going to do is what is really great. Let's see, I'm going to get my background too. And I can move this around. I can make it larger if I wanted to as well. It's just, okay, doesn't matter. I just want to share with you guys. Okay, so what you were saying, see, you could bring in another layer for your background and you just make sure that layer is at the bottom. Now, I'm going to, so the first thing that we can do, I think everyone is kind of comfortable with the keyframes. So what I want you to do is to try, you can bring in something from Photoshop, or you can just quickly, cut out something, and or you can do something from an older work and you can kind of play with it. But it's really nice to do when you want to make some kind of quick animation. So it's the same thing. And I can decide with these images, like if I want this image to show later, I could just drag this here. So this is the layer for this hand. And I can shorten it and on each end if I want to. And so right now it's on 2 seconds. And let's see, so for this one with the scale, we can, we can play with opacity if we wanted to. Maybe we'll start off with none and then it can fade in. And then, yeah, you can do just different things. And I'm gonna, let's make this a little bit long, a little bit longer. I use this a lot actually to kind of, when I have like a still image and I want to animate it and play around with it. And this is one way that you can do it, from bringing in layers into Photoshop, or you can kind of build up your own layers in After Effects and using the masking tool and cropping tool. So hold on. So today, let me see, I'm gonna have this move. So I'm gonna have this fade in. And once it fades in, I'm gonna say the position of it. Okay. So the position, It's going to, let's have it come up. I'm going to have it start. And remember with your keyframes, you know, like the position, for instance, I can move them if I want to. So here, listen, I can delete them, select them, delete them. Okay. And it's really building up on a layer, thinking about the background, thinking about the foreground, you know, thinking, what is the subject? What do you want to say? What do you need to bring out, highlight? Is this hand the most important hand? So I'm thinking about all of those things. And then hold on, let me see. I'm gonna have this one fade out. Um, and then I'm gonna have it right here is going to fade to 0. Now you can bring effects, you know, drag effects to these two as well. And we're gonna, you know, get into that a little bit later. So I want everyone to try it out, just step by step. Think about bringing in some different layers. You could bring in different work that you created from a previous class. If you haven't taken a previous intro to media class or any kind of digital class, then just bring in just different layers that you can kind of like, of different photographic layers or objects or things that you can kind of animate. I'm going to share with you how to, you can also do mask now. So we have this one. And so the second layer, so it's this one. And then I'm going to have this appear. It's going to be 0. Oops, I forgot to opacity. Have this feed in. And then it's really easy. Yeah, we're just going to have it. Oops, I have this going to 0. I got to delete this. Okay. And then I'm going to have maybe this one is going to also be off. Let's see, maybe I should come from the bottom. And right here. And so we have this other one that's going to come in as well and do something different. Oh. All right. So this one, let me see this layer. I can do, let me see. Then we can get into doing, different kind of effects as well. And, you just have to play around with it. So let me see one that, of course you can, also play with the color in the beginning. You can make alterations of the color. Let's see. We can generate, so what about this one? We're going to, let's generate, I was looking for the rain, but let's just do light rays. Let's see. So then once we select that layer, there are already kind of like effects that we can kind of add to it. And then we can make our, our adjustments to it too. The same way that we do with the position opacity. And, yeah, so let's see with this. It's a little bit bigger and kind of move it over a little bit too. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So we can do from here. And then from here, about here, we're going to move it over. Play with the intensity too. So with all of these different effects too, is that you can kind of tweak them and make them your own. Let's see. Yeah. And then I'm gonna do right here. I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. And then the radius. See the shape. You have a round shape, do square shape. Yeah, so you can just play with that. So let's see. So basically there's just 4 photographs and you can, move them, you can animate them, you can turn them around, you can bring a house up, whatever you feel comfortable. Okay. So I'm hoping that you guys get a chance to try it if you're able to. You want, so I want to give you a chance to try. Any questions so far? Okay, so I just basically went around with the pen tool. And once I select the layer that I want to add the mask to. I'm going to cut off everything so you guys can see. So once I've selected the layer that I want the mask to, so basically here's the mask and then the bounding box. It has the color. You can change that color, any color you want. You can also create with that mask, you can subtract if you wanted to. Just give it a second. And, or if you wanted to just take something away, you can as well. So you could just try out all of these different things. You can also kind of lighten this particular mask or that area. And oh, and you can also invert as well the mask. So I'm gonna do subtract. And then the other thing is too, oh, actually, I'm gonna try the none as well. And then with this mask too, is that you can actually use it to, actually animate the piece too, and you can move it. Now, if you want to delete your mask, you can just click delete. It's really easy. And if I wanted to make some adjustments to my mask, it immediately goes to, you wait for it to go to the selection tool. So you can literally animate this in the beginning as well. So here we have the mask. We can open up. You can also feather your edges of the mask if you wanted to. And to be honest, I do this technique more than I do with the rotoscoping, because the rotoscoping takes so much time. And sometimes I just want to do something really fast. And so this is like a really easy way that you can do it. So say, for instance, I have the mask showing everything. And then what I can do is that if I wanted to have it kind of create a mask where it slowly kind of disappears, you can. Okay, let me put this back here. And then I'm just moving it along the timeline. And then, oops, you can also add another mask on top. And let me see, is this? And then we can also play with the feathering too. There. As you can see, there's a change because they're keyframes that are added to this timeline. It's a beginning and an end. And the mass expansion also too, it basically kind of expands like the bounding box, blends in a little better. And so let me just turn off this so you can see. You can also move it, literally move the entire thing too. And so let's see. Let's click off. So you can bring in images and you can have masks, and you can create more than one mask on top, and then you can alter them too. You're like, oh, this is going too slow. I want to make this a little bit faster. So I'm going to give you a chance to just try that out. Okay. And then here I can even move it even further. And then I can have it fade out to the mask itself. Hit the selection tool. Oops, just make sure you have the right mask layer. And then I can move this out as well, but I forgot to do the position tool, keyframe. So I'm gonna move, I'm gonna go to the end, right to the end where I want it to move. And I can move this all the way out. And if it happens too soon, I can just move it like, I can extend this a little bit longer. Okay. So you could take part of a picture, you can have multiple pictures, layers, and you can cut out and you can add mask to them and you can animate them, you can move them, you can play with the feather. The mask expansion basically just expands here if you wanted to. It depends on your edge and what you want. See, any questions so far? Any questions so far?
So far, no.
Okay, fantastic. Now, also, I want to say is that you can also bring in effects and you can also animate them. Like right now, I have, so all you have to do is just go to effects. There's so many different ones. They're very similar. You can find in Photoshop, but then also there are new ones and you can play with them. You just have to make sure that the effect that you want to add to the layer that you've selected that layer. Now, let me see. Okay. So with this is the color balance because I felt like this color was a little, I wanted to play with the skin color a little bit. And as soon as I adjust anything, the effects control comes up in the project panel. And you can play with different colors if you need it be too. You could do it either place, whatever place that you feel most comfortable. in the project panel or right here in the timeline. It's up to you. But it's, yeah, it's really easy. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. And this one also has a lens flare. And I was playing with that, play with how bright the lens flare is. You can even animate that lens flare too. So right here, we have the lens flare, it kind of moves out. And we can make those adjustments. And you can always reset if you want to change something. You can adjust that lens flare to the shape, even to what type of camera. You know that when you have 50, it's a different lens, you know, so here's the 35 millimeter, and usually the 100 is kind of more compressed. Usually you use the 100 for more like landscapes, you know, and the 50 is kind of, you know, used more for, was 50 to 300. So that's usually for more for like portraits. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast or am I going too slow?
You're doing good.
Okay, great.
Yes, I think there's nothing wrong.
You said you think something's wrong?
I don't think there's nothing wrong. I'm learning so much about more
Okay.
about After Effects.
Now also too, sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I'm just, you know, but remember, it's really, you can always watch the video again and it's super simple. But just when I've given you, there's so much that you can do with that. Now, in terms of key light, with chroma key, there's so many different things. Stuff. First off, I want to say is that, oh, so the first thing is I want to say is that when you're doing chroma key, you don't actually have to use blue or green screen. You can basically, I would say, you can use just about any color except for black. I don't know why, but black has a tendency, when a negative space is black, it's kind of hard because I guess the gradients of the object, a three-dimensional object in a two-dimensional plane, is kind of hard. So most colors you can do. So let's do that with the king. Let's see. Oh yeah, so I have this little rabbit. Okay, so let's take this one off. All right. All right, so I closed the effects panel. And so I'm going to go back in to my project panel and look for my media. And I have some video footage. Now, I also want to say is that with when you're doing key light, you have to realize like you want a contrasting color. So if your subjects, okay, let's just do it. Okay, so it's really easy. So I'm going to drag down this little bunny and I'm going to put it on top. The same thing. I wanted to have this bunny really tiny. So I'm just going to go to about 50%. I can move this. All right, so we have this little bunny. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to just go to effects and presets. And then you type in key light. If you put in key, there's all these other things that come up too that you can also do, but that's just a little bit more advanced, okay? So you just do the key, comes up, and you just have to make sure that you're on the right panel. I mean, you're on the right layer. So I'm going to drag this key light to this layer. And it's really that simple. And then if your screen color is green, okay, then you'll be fine. If it's another color, then you can just pick out another color. So I use the eyedropper to get the background color. And then it's gone. Now, right now, that was kind of like a really great flat background. I was actually looking for some really bad ones. So if you have one like a green screen at home, or you have some fabric and it has wrinkles in it, all you do is just play with your gain. That's all, your screen gain, and you just make certain adjustments with that. The next class, we're going to go a little bit, more advanced in that. But I just want you to know that, yeah, you can use any other color. So I'm going to do another color, another rabbit. I'm going to delete this one. And then I'm going to bring in this pink one. And yeah, so it's really that easy. Just take the chroma key, and then you just need to drag it to your layer that you want. Eyedropper. Now, as you can see, the hat was also pink, so it's also taken off. So you have to be careful with certain things like that. Like if the background, the key is blue and they're wearing blue, you want to avoid those kind of situations. And then, but you could play with the screen gain, and you can also duplicate the layer to make it more opaque, the clothing. But we're gonna go a little bit more with next class, a little bit with chroma key. And there's another video on the Blackboard that's in the syllabus if anyone needs like more help. And see, the pink is the background, so we gotta just kind of tweak things out. And I'm trying to think that okay. So say for instance, we have this, we have this rabbit, but we can also on this layer, again, we can say, oh, wait, I don't want this, this book, or I want the book and I don't want the rabbit. Whatever you don't want, you can kind of create a mask. And then from there, you can, alter that mask, even in a video, and you can have the mask move as well. And it's another alternative to rotoscoping, which is probably a lot easier on your computer. So the same thing, you have this mask, and you have the mask path, and which can change. So you can do none, so try all of them and just get comfortable with it. First, you can subtract, to get, the bunny, to reveal the bunny. If you wanted to, you could play with the feather, all of those things. Okay. And then even with this bunny, this could be, it's a video, of the bunny. So, and as you can see, it's kind of like next class, there's a little bit, you have to make some adjustments. So I can still see a little bit of the green screen. Okay. So bringing in different layers from Photoshop. That's what we did today. Animating those different layers. We talked about mask, and we're just entering in, key light. And again, you can still even add an effect to this layer if you wanted to. If you wanted this, rabbit to do something, if you wanted to have multiple rabbits, you can play with that too. Okay, any questions so far? Mhm.
No, Professor, thank you.
Right. Let me see. Okay. You can also you can generate, it's really fun because you can bring in things. You can also make it rain. And yeah, you could do all types of things. So just try out different things, There's a radio waves, that you can add in so that, it's an effect that you can add. It's up to you. And then you can kind of like, well, we'll talk more about effects and things like that, but you can always delete it. All right, so I'm just going to stay on for students that has some difficulty. And I'm going to post today's class on the Blackboard. My apologies for last class. I had some things going on. But I think that we're back on track. And yeah, so, just remember, I'm going to write on the Blackboard. What is due is at the end of the week by Friday. You need to have your animation, your text animation finish. Once you have that finished, then what I would like you to do is to start thinking of, practice always what you learned today, but also start thinking of your next animation, making it a little bit more complex, and playing with different layers, playing with the mask, playing with the chroma key. But we have 2 weeks until that's due, because we have the spring break next week. And then we come back on that Monday, which I'm going to show you more with the chroma key. And we're going to use that also to share with you some other artists that are doing these kind of layered similar effects using After Effects and Photoshop. And then on that Wednesday, your second film, your spirit animal, will be due. And I'm gonna put all of this on the blackboard so it'll be clear. All right.
The spirit animal, do we use Photoshop or After Effects, or will either one be fine?
Oh, you have to use After Effects, but just like I showed you in the beginning of class, like you can mask or you can kind of like crop different layers in Photoshop and you could bring it in. That was just, you don't have to use Photoshop. You can also crop in After Effects too.
All right, understood.
We didn't get to the content and where, what you can do with masking, but I feel like with Photoshop, yeah, it's just sometimes easier to crop certain images if you need, if you want to tweak them. Okay.
Yep.
All right, wonderful. Now, if it's something that you really want to know more of, then just don't be shy. This is your class, so please feel free to email me. And yes, and I try to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay.
Have a good day, Professor.
You too. Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day, Professor.
You too.
Bye.
Hey, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Professor. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Wonderful week.
Bye, Professor.